Cool. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, everyone. And honestly, hats off to all of you. I know at this time of the year, a lot of you guys have everything going a bit crazy between work and school kids and all the rest of it. But that's why I kind of thought that tonight's training, when we were popping up an idea, would have been really a really good idea, because I actually did a live around this recently in my own team page, and I actually went and listened to it again just before, and I was thinking, damn it, can I not just share it? I had it so down packed. But I wanted to just share it with everybody else and the open team from tomorrow down, and hopefully you guys will find some tips in here that will be helpful. They're things that I've learned along the way through trial and error and through my own mistakes and foot in mouth moments. So I try to help anyone else not get in those scenarios as well. And we do also, of course, have some awesome leadership on here tonight too. So feel free if you want to pop anything into the chats or add on at all as I go if something comes to mind. So, all right, the first thing I guess I really wanted to get into is that at this time of the year, when we know that it's like almost the end, we're wanting to hit those last goals or targets, and we know that everyone's going to really be switching off by Christmas, it's easy to get in that desperado stage 5 clinger mode, is what I call it, where it's literally just like anyone, you're like, just be my customer, just make an order, just be my TV, do it now, do it quickly before Christmas comes. And I see some of you guys laughing because you're like, yep. And it's partly probably for us too, because let's face it, none of us want to really be worrying about certain qualifications or promotions over those, essential Christmas days where we want to be relaxing with our families too. I really do get it. So I wanted to share some tips tonight to just help you maybe step away from that, or when you do feel stage 5 clinger coming on, you can remember these words and perhaps have a different approach about it. So I guess that the big thing is to try not to fight it. You're going to get no's at this time of the year, and perhaps more often or regularly than you do, I can see some faces nodding, than you do any other time of the year. It's kind of the reality, guys. People are more conscious of putting money or time towards Christmas presents and events than they generally are towards something that they see as a luxury quite often. So don't get down on yourselves about it. It's not you, and it doesn't really matter whether you're brand new in this business or whether you've been around the block for a long time. Ask any of the old farts on here tonight, including me. We get them too. You get no's too, or they're not nows, or it's that time of the year or whatever. So I guess just acknowledge. I think that's the easiest way. If you stop trying to push against it or think it's you, and just acknowledge that it might be more likely to happen. If it isn't for you, go you and come chat to me after. I want to know what you're doing right. But I just wanted to put that out there. So I think the other thing that can quite often happen too is if we are getting or finding it perhaps more challenging to get people over the line this month, or finding that there are extra cancellations or delays than usual, and then you're going, oh my God, how am I going to qualify? Or, I thought I was going to have this much in my pay line and it's not. Maybe perhaps ask yourself, did you do enough throughout the year? Were you creating consistent actions throughout the year that it didn't really matter that if you got to this point of the year and there were maybe a few less orders or a few cancellations, that it wouldn't affect your volume and your paycheck too much? And I think quite often we don't stop and reflect on ourselves and go, am I desperate? Because if I wasn't doing the work basically throughout the year and now I'm feeling it. Whereas if you kind of built up that great customer base, built up that system, built up that consistency, you might find that it doesn't hurt so much or feel so bad. So it's just a bit of reflection going into the new year to sort of think about why we say it's much easier to take action consistently than just try and do it every so often. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, and also just going back on that, we talk about when we are sharing the product or the business about it being about that person, really focusing on their needs, on their wants, what they're looking for. So always keep that in mind. I feel like sometimes, again, this time of the year, it's quite easy to put everything back on us and almost be like, not saying it to them, but I need you to order so that I get paid this much, this month. I need you to order so that I can make sure I've got Christmas presents out there, or etc. And so try to really take that away and not push people into something if it's not the right time for them. Not saying it isn't for everyone. Some people are going to say, yes, it's awesome, but just not to push them based on you wanting it for yourself versus more for them, if that makes sense. So did that come out right? Did that make sense? Cool. All right. So who here is getting pretty much, if you are facing any not nows or hesitance, it's around finance this month. Raise your hand. Yep, pretty much. Okay, so any of that extra money that could have been going towards Juice Plus is pretty much going towards, food, presents, events, alcohol, all the rest of it. So what I would encourage you to do is search for an entry point. So perhaps initially you were speaking to this person about a premium pack, and now they're basically saying, oh, it's too hard at Christmas. Would they look at a fruit and veg? Would they look at a berry blend perhaps? Would they even look at 30 sachets if that was on the agenda? Search for an entry point, because I always think that something is better than nothing. And quite often we get stuck in this idea that it needs to be this or nothing at all. But what if it's not that they don't want to start? It's just they really can't start with that option now, but they'd like to start with something. Can you just give them that? Can you give them the option? Can you talk to them? Because I know I've had conversations before where people have been ready to say, oh, not now, cancel. Then I'm like, well, we can always look at this. And they go, oh, okay. And all of a sudden there's another option for them to stick with. So find an entry point. If you have done that, if you have looked at all options with them, see if you can just plant that seed to commit into the new year. Because at the end of the day, it goes with something is better than nothing. So maybe they're not ready to do it right now, but instead of pushing them away, is there another way that perhaps you can go, right, where's a date in the new year? What are you looking at then? When can we touch base then? What are you thinking? And that way you already have that person down. So when you're coming into January, you already know who you're hitting up. And you can use that conversation based on the fact that's being professional, following up, right? You've already had that chat with them. They've already said they want to look at the new year. So work with them to commit to something in the new year and make a plan around that. Then the other option, I suppose, that always comes in is, if it's finance and they really like the product, are they open to looking at the business at all? And I think, that can go where your story can come in. Perhaps you have one where Juice Plus had really been helpful to you around the Christmas period. I know I have, and I'll talk about that a little bit further when I get into teeny potentials a bit more. But ask them, if it's just a matter of that and you're looking to get a health kick on, can you perhaps grab some family members, grab some girlfriends or guys or colleagues, and is there a few of them? Because perhaps if they're looking at the same thing, well, we can grab a few orders. We can look at just setting you up with your own business account, and that way we can help cover your product. Is that something you would be open to looking at? Just ask the question. At the end of the day, you've put it out there to them. If they say no, that's okay. They might say, actually, yes, I didn't think about that. How would this all work? So I think it's just looking at, as I said, all options available before completely accepting a no or a cancellation. I think so easily people say, want to cancel, and, you can come back and just go, okay, without having asked why, what the reason is, and is there any other possible solution around that. If you are feeling still not quite confident, especially if you're new to the business, on verbiage around this, utilize your upline, use your NMDs, use your sidelines, ask how would they respond to this question if you're really not sure. It's okay to not have to do it on your own if you're not feeling okay around it. I've always used help, and I still do, when I feel like I'm not sure if I can answer it right in my own head. So, and that also gives you a little bit of feedback sometimes. I think we can be too quick to perhaps respond maybe when we're not in a mindset, or if we've had a bad day and then we think, oops, shouldn't have said that, or what should I say? So always take a step back, maybe bounce it off with someone else and go, do you think that's appropriate? Would you add anything else? And then you might realize you've missed something that could have been, a really good response or opened up conversation as well. So moving on. Is that cool, guys? Does anyone have any questions? Is this helpful so far? Okay, cool. So dealing with customer cancellations. Okay, I'm the first to say I've had a few of these. It happens every year around December, and maybe because I'm seasoned, I don't take it on board as much because I kind of know it's going to come back around again in January, or there are more delays, and that's what I'll get into in a moment. When a customer is looking to cancel, always look to talk with them around a delay versus a cancellation and explain how that works. So I will always ask, the customer, or I will say, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's disappointing. I know that you're really enjoying it. Is there any particular reason that you've decided to cancel it all? Most of the time, people are going to give you the reason. Don't feel afraid to ask. And if it is something, say it's around finance, given we're talking a lot around that in Christmas, go back to the feel, felt, found message. And this is where it leads into my own business story, where quite often I can say, I feel for you at the moment and what it's like around this time of the year. I felt that myself once, where I couldn't actually afford to buy my family Christmas presents, but I found by speaking to the person who actually got me onto the product that I could find a way around it. And I just looked at how I could help some other people with the product. And with that, I was able to, get a paycheck that enabled me to help my family out. Is that something you want to perhaps visit or look at as well? Again, I've given them the option. I've shared my own story and how it worked. That might be a great, solution for them. It might not, but don't feel afraid to put it out there to them. Again, if they're not interested in the business, then put options out there. Look, if you really feel that you can't put the order through now, how about we just pop on a 1 month or 2 month delay, whatever it is, and we'll have a revisit in the new year. What situation might be better? I'll contact you then. How does that sound? And if you need anything earlier, we can, of course, sort that out. So I'm looking for options versus just cancelling them and then writing them off my books. Again, most of the time they're like, yeah, happy to do that and see how I go. And then that way I've made note to contact them in the new year. So that's an option there. We're looking at the business as well. And as I said, look to downgrade. Same with your customers. If they're taking, both the capsules and the sachets, you need to sacrifice one. Can they go down from a premium to a fruit and veg? And you get where I'm going from there. Look for options so that they can possibly stay on something versus nothing. Right. Going on to teamy potentials. Now, it's that time of the year, guys. Most people are exhausted. Is anyone else here a little bit tired, looking forward to that Christmas break as well? Yeah, all of us. And I think sometimes we just really forget to put ourselves in other people's shoes and think, if I wasn't in this business, if I was sort of not knowing much about it, would I want to start something right now? Now, you might have people you've been working on for weeks or months or know around it. And so in that case, they've got their head around it. They're good to go. They've already been working on their customers to get started. That's awesome. Then December is definitely not an excuse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason if someone turned around tomorrow and said, I want to join the business, I'm not going to say no. But I'm talking about where you can feel yourself sort of pushing to get them over the line this month when it might not be ready for them. And that can really come back on you, because at the end of the day, they might not do anything with it. They might feel they don't have people to say yes to the product right now, which doesn't give them a strong start. When they don't get a strong start, what happens? They get disappointed. They lose even more self-belief, and then they're unlikely to do anything in the new year. So please, as I said, don't think I'm saying that December is a complete write-off. You can't put on customers. You can't put on, team members. I'm just trying to help you perhaps understand, if you are getting challenges, why now might not be the right time, but how you can work with them to really kickstart even better in the January. So perhaps December can become their time for training, getting their head around the industry, the product, the company more, getting some customers lined up, looking towards, if you guys do shreds, having people ready to go in January, or maybe, that way they can sign them up at the end of December, ready to go in January. Just look for ways around them, and just make sure that you're not getting them to say yes for you, that you're making sure it's the right move and the right time for them. And just as I said, always just stand in their feet and see where they're at, because some people just don't want to start anything new at this time of the year. It's not that they don't want to start Juice Plus, it's just the mindset of where they're at. Okay, what else have I got written? Right, look this time of the year at what to market. So for me personally, again, it's not that I'm not going to get capture orders or, you know, not look at that, but I'm really focused on the complete, simply because I understand that people are looking for ways to create healthier snacks, desserts in particular. Perhaps they are looking to do some sort of kickoff or, you know, kickstart in January and want things ready to go. Perhaps they're traveling, you know, during this time, so the sachets work great. You know, kids at home, so they're needing to feed them better, healthier options. Whatever it may be, just have something that you know is going to appeal to people at this time of the year, and that can work with you. So for me, we've just created with our team in the program we use a new updated dessert ebook, and all of the recipes in there feature the complete. So that's what I'm pumping out basically and promoting this month. Most of all, it's the complete, because I know I'm more likely to get people on board with that than perhaps anything else. So really think about, you know, what people are looking for and what you can really utilize throughout the December to attract people into the product and be their entry point. Or perhaps, you know, if they had said they're needing to, I don't know, delay, or they, you know, another product, perhaps they want to do the complete now this month, and, you know, leave the capsules, whatever it is, just work with people and ask questions, and always make sure you've explored all the options. So whatever it is that you want to be looking at focusing on throughout this month, be sure to be using it yourself and doing it yourself, because that way you can be posting on your social media, whether it's activities, whether it's different recipes that you're using with the complete, that then people say, oh, that looks awesome. I want to be able to do that as well. What is that? So, you know, make sure you're doing the do of what you want to advertise or put out there too. And the other thing is, when it comes down to, for example, customer care, I hope I don't have to talk about that tonight, and everyone on here does their customer care. But for me, I have methods of where I do individual customer care, but then I also have ways that I can, you know, do it in bulk. So something I've been doing this month when I've had a note to do customer care is I've basically had a set template text, and then I might just change, you know, the intro, obviously according to the name, and if maybe add something personal in there. But it's basically just a copy and paste of one of my socials I did around this Christmas ebook. So yes, they might see it on my post. Yes, they might see a newsletter, but it's the point that I've sent it to them and they actually get it in front of them via text or via Facebook message, whatever way you find is better to connect. Personally letting them know, have you seen that this ebook is out? You know, have you had a look at it? This is what's in it. It features the sachets. You know, if you already have some but you need more, or you want to look to get on this to make all the recipes, let me know so we can make sure we get you sorted. That's been an easy piece of customer care that I've been able to do anytime someone's popped up on my list, and I'm being able to share that. Another way is to make sure when it comes to, as I said, I don't know what you guys want individually spruce, or I know everyone here pretty much has a way that they talk about the sachet, so, you know, I'll just keep using that as an example. But also via groups. So something that I do with my customers and just followers or database or potentials is they're in my database, and once a week I have a e-newsletter that goes out. And, you know, it features anything from an article or, you know, a topic, you know, a link to something, and quite often, you know, a recipe or, you know, what's out at the moment. And so I've been sprucing again the sachets and this, you know, Christmas ebook. So make sure if you do have anything like that, or perhaps you just want to create an e-blast or a one-off email about something. This is, you know, created an idea in your mindset that you can send out to them before the year is at, you know, based on what you like to do. And then also too, if you have any customer groups, make sure that you're really loving on them, particularly this time of the year when it can be tempting for them to forget about their health or think, oh, I should, you know, just wait till the new year, whatever. Make sure that you keep adding value, and really the importance of looking after yourself throughout the silly season. How this is when it counts more than ever. Everything that you've been doing is ensuring that, you know, you're probably in a better health state than others, and you've got those capsules there to help you through the silly season. I know with the blokes in particular, that's like my line. I'm like, you know, you're going to be on the booze, you're going to be eating, these are your bad boys that are going to get you through it. And they know it too. So, speak your customers' language, and just as I said, keep adding the value in there. So you never know if somebody in that group might have been thinking about stopping, but it could have been your post that got them to rethink, or your message, or whatever it is. Okay. You got to remember, the average person isn't thinking about their health maybe the same way we are, and they're not thinking about Juice Plus, in that same non-negotiable way we are. They're still getting around it. So just keep that in mind, what a difference that, email or text or post or whatever, or you just sharing can make. Remind people to get orders in time for Christmas to create urgency. So, for example, there's no point telling someone if they do want to use, say, sachets over Christmas and they put an order in on the 21st. Well, they're not going to have sachets for Christmas Day unless they're in your area and you do a bit of a swapsies or give them some. So make a point of that. If they're wanting to have particular products before they head on a break, before they go away for New Year's, before Christmas, make sure, especially if you're listening in, this is probably more for Australia, we know it takes generally 7 to 8 days, sometimes longer in the region. So I know for me, for example, I'm like, if you want sachets for Christmas Day, you need your order in by the 15th, like latest, because the post, is always slower as well. By creating that urgency, you're more likely to get them to say yes quicker than trying to and ah about it, and then get closer to the date and realize, well, they're not going to have their product in time for that anyway, which can then lead to sometimes people saying, well, don't bother ordering. And there you go, you've lost a customer. So create that urgency now. Make sure you let people know in case they're sitting on the fence to go, oh, okay, quick, I better get my details into you. Okay, if you're a little bit stuck on ideas around, posting on, and lingo around Christmas, think about who inspires you in the Juice Plus business and go and get some ideas. Follow them, stalk them, check out what they're putting up. See again, verbiage, whether it's TAM or NAT. We've got Abby on here somewhere. Have a look. It's okay to get inspiration from your fellow Juice Pluses and community and your upline. I know I say with my own downline all the time, if, we've put something out or launched something, hey guys, if you need some ideas around it, I've posted mine today. You can go and have a look for some verbiage inspo. So make sure you have look around there for some creative ideas. And then I think finally, my motto is just to do something and have something. So everyone might naturally slow down a tiny bit. You don't need to completely stop. I think it's just about knowing what you want to focus on and then making sure you do that little bit consistently. So, don't have to stop completely. Do something, have something that you want to share and focus on and tell people about throughout this versus just going, oh, it's December, I'm not going to bother at all. Because at the end of the day, that's thinking very short term. And we all know that generally whatever we are doing now pays off in the 2-3 months forward. So don't think of just, oh, whatever I'm doing now, it's not coming and order isn't coming through, routine's not coming through. All those conversations, all those seeds being planted, all those planning, prepping, organising, catch-ups, if you do that now, I promise you that's going to help you have at least an even stronger start coming into the January, February. So don't just lose sight of what it is you want just because you aren't necessarily getting all the results you want this month. And again, some guys kill it throughout December. Like, I think it's awesome. I just really wanted to put out there today that it's okay if you don't see everything come through this month, but I 100% believe you'll see that shine through next month. So just keep on sharing because the seeds that you're planting through December will come through. And that was pretty much all the notes I had down. So breathe. Oh, how was that? Guys, you're all so quiet. I just stare at all these faces and no one doing anything.
It was amazing, Carla. Thank you. It was some really great points there. Do any of our other leadership teams or NMDs have anything extra to add to that very comprehensive list? Anyone else have any great thoughts?
Just reading through.
I just wanted to pop in the chat that obviously we run our Shred 10s. I know some people call them Detox 10. We run them from the first Monday of every month. In January, the first Monday just happens to be the 7th of January. So if you track back 7 to 10 days, which is what it takes to deliver to WA, you need to be placing their orders probably by the 27th of December. So, you know, you've got some great opportunity to get people locked into that Shred 10 after the New Year's festivities are over. They're setting their New Year's health goals. Encourage them to set that in place now, and arrange to do their order at the end of December, and you can still do your 5-1 because you can get all your orders in December for the January shred. So like Carla said, planning ahead, thinking about, you know, what you can be doing with them in January, but getting them to commit to that now, locking that away so they can just set and forget, and be ready for their attacking their New Year's health resolutions, because everyone's got them.
Yeah. And just one more quick thing, just because someone popped in there about being caring and compassionate. And that is, guys, at the end of the day, when you work with someone in the end and you are understanding of them, and you don't fight it and you don't become sort of nasty, or that person's like, you have to keep on your juice plus, you know, they're more likely to want to stay with you, come back to you, be grateful, have that open relationship where they're not going to fear you as that scary juice plus lady or man, because you made it difficult for them. When perhaps, you know, it could be an embarrassing scenario too sometimes if they have to hold off due to finance. It's not a great conversation to have. So just be empathetic, compassionate, show that you care about them, and I guarantee you'll either really leave on a good path where they'll refer you or they'll come back to you.
Nice job. Does anyone else have any pearls that they'd like to share, things that they've found successful in this December silly season? Anyone else want to share any stories they've had where someone was about to cancel and you managed to talk them around? Adrian's put in the chat that he's offering to those people who have decided to put it off, probably because of finances, he's giving out one of the free e-cookbooks, which is great because it keeps them connected to the mission, so that you can then go back later and talk about the products behind that. So that's a really awesome idea as well. And, you know, to those of you who are thinking, well, where do I get these e-cookbooks? Don't forget, there's healthylivingrevolution.com. There's all those Healthy Living Revolution cookbooks and shred cookbooks that you guys can tap into for free. So if you don't know, it's healthylivingrevolution.com, and then down the little bottom, there's a little dial. You can click on that. The password is revolution, and you can go into the back office and get all of those. Hey, Carla, Niha's got a question.
It's at the bottom. I had a customer cancel because she doesn't have so money for a trip. Yeah, okay, so exactly. So it's that's a great example that you've popped there. You know, it's understanding. She's got to go away to see, you know, her father who's unwell. And because you've shown you care, you get it. And as you said, I'll speak in a few months. It's not saying I'm never coming back. It's not saying I'm done. It's just I've got to do this, and, you know, we'll chat again there. So I think, yeah, just as we were already going on, it's just actually caring for your customers, guys, and seeing them as people, not just, you know, money in your bank account. I think that's really important.
Some really great tips. I think we've hit the bottom of the half hour. Carla, thank you so much for tonight. It's been really, really valuable.